Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us for July's webinar series. We'll get started in a few minutes to talk all about Google Photos. All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining today. My name is Maria Giannopoulos. I'm joined by my colleague, Erica Arbetter. And today we're going to talk about Google Photos. Of course, Google Photos is one of our favorite products to talk about. So let's dive in. So introducing Google Photos. For those of you who have been using it for a while, or for those of you who are maybe just getting started, here's a little bit of a look at Google Photos. You can see in the GIF here some of the different abilities that you have to put your photos in Google Photos, have them automatically upload, and how they show up on your screen. So let's dive a little deeper. What is Google Photos? Well, really, it's a home for all of your moments, whether that's with your boss or with your organization. You can organize your photos all in one place. First, they're automatically organized. You can search them by their faces, places, and objects, and we'll go through ways that you can do that through our Maps feature, through facial recognition, and really get the most out of where your photos are and who your photos are with. Also, they're available across all of your devices, both Android, iOS, and even on the computer. You can sign into your Google account and you can see those photos on whatever device you might be on, and you can have your photos in a snap of a finger. All right, so a safe home for all of your moments. How do we actually go about setting that up? So first, we want to make sure that you all are using your office's shared Google account for your organization's photos. I know if you've been to our webinar series before, you know we've talked at length about shared Google accounts and why it's so important for your organization to have sort of that comms Gmail or organization type account that stays with the group, so that, if you eventually move on from the organization, then all of your photos, your YouTube channel, your knowledge panel, everything stays within the group. So we really recommend that you have that shared Google account instead of a personal organization account, maybe like a mail.house.gov or your organization.org account or your personal Gmail. We really recommend that you have that shared account just so it can stay with your organization. Something we highly recommend. We also want to make sure that you are able to keep your photos safe and secure. Your photos and videos are automatically backed up to Google Photos on your library. Wi-Fi backup is also enabled by default. You can choose the settings that you'd like, but you can choose to upload them using mobile data if you want. If you are on Android, of course, those will be in Google Photos. If you're on iOS, you can have them upload directly from your Apple Photos library. So it's something where you can keep all of your photos right in one place very securely. So next, let's talk about creating albums. So you see here that you can automatically add photos to albums. And this is a feature that I really enjoy. I personally have an album for my mom and I, and it automatically uploads photos of just me and her to the album and shares them directly with her. So albums are a great way to organize your photos for, people, so different people that are in those photos, but then also events. Thinking about maybe you went back to the district and you had a visit at a business. Organizing all the photos in one album can be a great way to make sure that you're coordinating with your office and saying, hey, here are all the pictures that we took at this one specific business or location back in the district, or this event that we had. It's something that you can share very easily. And you can also create different albums to search as well. So having it really easy that, when you took all those pictures for National Ice Cream Day a couple months back, you can search for those albums and get up a picture really quickly for those social media holidays. You can also share photos as you take them. So live albums make it really easy to share across your team with members and offices. You can choose the people that you want to include. So, taking a picture of your member automatically, if you take that picture and say you're on a team with 10 other folks, and you're all taking pictures at different events, if you have a live album, you can actually upload that photo automatically without having to do anything if that member or that person is in the album. So that's something that I really recommend if you have staff that is around a lot. Maybe you have somebody in DC, somebody back in the district, or you have multiple offices around the country. That's something that I highly recommend so that you can share from person to person, but you also have your principal in those pictures. So a great way to kind of aggregate all of those pictures in one place without really having to do much work. Something that I really wish I would have taken advantage of when I worked in the Senate. So Google Photos is really easy to manage, and you want to make sure that you have room for all of those important moments with your boss. You can find your photos faster. I mentioned National Ice Cream Day, but here we're talking about puppy last year. So you can type that right in the search bar and look for that puppy for National Dog Day, or by names, events, places, or things. So you're back in the district. I'm from Wisconsin, so you're back in the district in Sheboygan. You can look up events that you've done in that place, maybe for an event that you're trying to get a cover photo for the next event. But you can't remember exactly what day you were there. It's a great way to just type in something and find a past memory or a past event to bring those photos forward. Something that I think has been extremely useful. I tend to use it for my friends' birthdays as well. Photos that I have with them, I just look it up and get a post for their birthday as well. Also, no need for tagging folks in your photos. Google Photos uses facial recognition to group similar faces in your library. Sometimes you'll be met with questions asking, is this face the same as this person in this picture? So that you can easily find pictures of your boss, their colleagues in the different photos, and you can search by name, which is something that I have found extremely useful. You can also label, that person and their face and say, in my case, would be Senator Hatch or some other principal that you may be working for. The face grouping really helps and detects all those photos that has any sort of face in it. And it uses algorithmic models to predict the similarity of different images and group them together. So I may be wearing sunglasses in a picture, but it would still group me in a photo with pictures that I'm not wearing sunglasses in. So hopefully that helps you organize them all together with not a lot of effort. Okay, now I'm going to turn it over to Erica to talk about moments that matter.
Hi, thank you so much. So in this section, we're just going to go ahead and outline how Google Photos helps you make them, you and your team and your office, make the most of the moments that matter. So how you can share across your office and teams. So it's really easy to share your photos with your colleagues and vice versa. You don't even need to leave the app. So you can share your photos in an ongoing private conversation. So all of your photos are in one place. And you can also save photos that have been shared with you to your library. You can also create shared albums with any of your contacts, and they don't need to have the Google Photos app. So I would say a lot of times, in my experience working in the government, more often than not, the candidate's spouse or a family member would staff them at an event. And while you love to get an email with 19 attachments or have them text it to you, what's so much easier is they just need to go to the album, tap the library. You create the shared album, and then you can share it with those principals, even if they don't have the app, by entering their email address, phone number, or creating a link. And that way it just takes a lot of the work off of downloading, re-uploading, etc. And then with live albums, you can choose the people or pets you want to create an album of, and Google Photos will automatically add photos of them to your album as you take them. So let's say you are with a committee. You obviously have a lot of members on that committee who rely on you for photos from those hearings. You can create a live album for each individual member on your committee. And then each of those live albums can be shared with those offices. So if you have, so after every single hearing, the digital director, the intern, whoever took the photos of the hearing can go ahead, upload them all to the Google Photos, and then Google Photos will automatically sort those images. And you don't have to look through 500 pictures from a hearing. You can just see the ones that are clearly your boss, your face, or that office's boss or face. So it's a much easier, much more time-effective way to manage your photos. So now we'll talk about how you can use the automatic video collages, reliving your moments that matter. This, I think, is especially helpful and time-saving because, as we know, as people upload tons of photos that they took, only a handful of them might actually be usable for social media. So Google Photos actually automatically creates these video collages for you using your best photos from previous years, previous events. And it really acts as like a social media sorter for you, presented just to you. So it uses machine learning to select your best photos, and then you can view the memories feature at the top of the Photos tab. So you don't have to sort through all these photos saying, oh, I really want a good one. Let me swipe through, the 40 photos that somebody took at this. Google Photos will just automatically curate the ones that are best using machine learning. So now let's talk about the interactive map view. So as Maria mentioned, the Sheboygan event, if you went on a congressional delegation, if you did a staff delegation, etc., these can show you where the photos were taken. And you can pinch and zoom around the country, around the globe, to explore photos of your travels, your principal's travels, your office's travels, where you've taken the most photos, or find one particular photo. So you can go into the different cities, different counties, districts, et cetera, and all you have to do is enable the location on your device's camera. So that, I think, is especially helpful for many in politics and government. I think we all know our lives are much greater than DC. So you want to be able to sort your photos by where they were taken. So next, we'll talk about how you can create with Google Photos. In this section, we'll go through some of the ways Google Photos helps you create memories and different ways you can communicate and create just a better photo experience. So many communications and digital directors, I think myself included, use editing tools to enhance their photos. Google Photos actually replaces the need for additional apps. So we'll go through how you can edit photos and videos. With Google Photos, you don't need a third-party editing app. You don't need to have Lightroom and Visco and this and that. Google Photos actually has all the tools you need to create amazing photos, including powerful editing tools, smart filters that adapt to the content of each photo, tailored editing suggestions, and they auto enhance improves photos in just one tap. So you don't need to be a photography expert to create stunning photos. You don't need to leave the Google Photos app to open photos in another downloaded editing app. You just tap the tools button in the bottom right of the edit page. That's also very useful when some of the people on the team, I think, at least in my experience, they may not have that photographic eye or lighting. So Google Photos really does the work for them or you in that regard. So next we'll talk about how you can create albums. This is much more like a curated memory situation. So you can order photo prints, canvas prints, or a photo book straight from Google Photos. All you have to do is tap Library and then Print Store, which appears at the very top of the screen. And with photo books, you can either choose photos or search for a person, place, thing. Let's say I might have lost let's see. Well, yes, great. So small technical difficulty, but yeah, so let's say you have somebody in your office, like a chief of staff who's retiring, has a ton of great photos, or a mayor who y'all have had a lot of great events in your district, or somebody who's really valuable to your principal or to your office. You can use a live album and curate all the photos of that person, and then choose a person, place, thing to create a photo book. You can easily move pictures, choose a cover design, add titles to your pictures, and then you can have your photo book printed using reasonably sourced materials. Oh, and responsibly sourced materials, because that's very important in today's day and age. And then single prints. So all you would do is tap photo prints and tap order prints, and you can get same day pickup from Walmart or CVS, and you would pay for the photos when you collect them. And then with canvas prints, you just tap canvas prints and then make a canvas, select photos to print on a canvas straight from the app, and photos are printed on responsible sourced materials. So it's a great way to curate memories. You don't have to go to another service or app or anything like that. It's all in one place. So with that, we can do a recap. And I think we'll bring Maria back in. But so here you just, with Google Photos, you can relive the moments that matter most. You can create with Google Photos, and your memories are definitely in safe hands. So any questions?
Absolutely. Erica, when you were chatting, I was thinking even about my own use of Google Photos, and hopefully the folks on this live stream have kind of gone to their app and were playing around when we were both chatting and talking. So hopefully you all found this useful. I know it was short, sweet, and to the point today, but want to take any questions that you might have. Okay, first one here I see. Right now, my team uses Flickr. How should we migrate over to Google Photos? Erica, I know you have used Flickr in your past life. How do you migrate over?
Yeah, no, I would say Flickr was the number one service that I was dependent on as a committee digital director. And after every hearing, we would upload, 200-300 photos because these hearings are really long. And what else are you going to do? And every member has their moment. So we would just upload them, and these offices would have to individually go through and look. Or if I was feeling like very benevolent that day, I would choose some of the best for each office. But the Google Photos takes all of that work out of it for you. So if you wanted to export your Flickr library, I am sure that we could help you from our team. I don't know how to do it off the top of my head, but more than anything, moving forward, right? So if you can get with your committee, if you can get with your team, if you can get with the district office or the multiple offices within the district and get them all on the same page of Google Photos, it's going to be a lot easier for you than Google Drive, Dropbox. I will say that personally, I have a lot of experience using shared albums on iPhotos, but you really need to be an Apple user for that. With Google Photos, you don't, and that's really, really helpful. So I would say Flickr is great if you love spending time sorting through every photo individually. Otherwise, Google Photos really does a lot of that heavy lifting for you.
Absolutely. And I think that goes for a lot of the different services that folks use on the Hill. I know we use Dropbox, so similar situation here as well. Even if you're using Google Drive, we really recommend using the Photos feature because this tool is really meant for photos. So some of the other platforms may not be solely used for photos, but making sure that you kind of take all of that work out, I think is really important. So we hope that you take advantage and work smarter, not harder.
100%.
All right. I see another question here. Do you have tips on collecting photos from supporters or events where supporters are?
So for me personally, and I think it totally varies from office to office and what makes sense, what I would recommend is instead of using a link to like a public album, I think a better way to collect photos would be to encourage your supporters to upload photos to their own social media and tag you in the office, or maybe send them to via direct message or something along those lines. And then if you can choose the ones that you like best and put them in the album yourself. That way you're not going to get spammed with a ton of things in this album that's really not supposed to be used for that. That way you can go, on social media, and if somebody wants to tag you in something, or you think that that's an especially valuable photo that you want to reshare, you can download the photo or take a screenshot, put it in your album, and then come back to it later if it doesn't make sense to use in that moment.
Absolutely. You're kind of like the curator, if you will.
Exactly.
We love that. A good curation of photos of supporters in the district. Sounds like a lot of fun. Sounds like we're initiating some sort of social media challenge right now.
Full support.
We love it. All right. Let's see if there's any other questions here. Okay, it's not looking like I'm seeing anything else. However, you all know where to reach us. civics-outreach@google.com is where you can always find Erica, me, the rest of the Civics Outreach team. We thank you so much for joining our series today. Today is one of our final webinar series. We will not have a webinar series in August due to August recess. So make sure you check back with us in September. Fingers crossed that we might not be right here. We may actually be in person. Who knows? So something exciting to look forward to. But no webinar in August. But thank you so much for joining today and all of the other series. If you're interested in any of our other content, you can always watch it right down below on demand or on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Google Civics. We hope to see you there. Thanks so much, and we'll see y'all soon.
See you soon.